While I think many of us expected Ghost of Yotei to sell pretty well because Tsushima did and so many people loved that game, we didn't expect it to be on sale nearly 2 weeks after release. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, I completely understand that all games will eventually go on sale, but when you expect people to swipe their credit card for $70, sometimes more, at release, why would we do that if just 2 weeks after release a game is going to go on sale? And this is not happening in every region, but it is still happening, which is absolutely mind blowing. This was posted by Smash JT. He said 2 weeks after release, Ghost of Yotei prices reduced. What an odd thing to do for such a successful game. Now, I always anticipated this game would probably sell like 3 to 4 million copies over several months. I never thought that it was going to reach the heights of Tsushima, but at this point in time, Sony still hasn't boasted about their sales numbers. And while we do have alleged Circana data, we don't have solid sales figures from that because of course they are paywalled. We just know that it was at the top of a chart, not even number 1. It was number 4 though. Now we're hearing that PS5 copies of Ghost of Yotei are already reduced 2 weeks after release. So it's been just over 2 weeks since Yotei launched as the latest PlayStation 5 exclusive title, arriving as the anticipated sequel to 2020's Ghost of Tsushima, which was an amazing game, and I was so disappointed that there were so many problems surrounding Yotei, and it seemed to not necessarily be a big upgrade from Tsushima. They did remove a couple of systems, like with the combat. The visuals do look good. Atsu doesn't seem like a very interesting character. She does seem pretty forgettable, and it's a story that's been done time and time again. And, with all the controversy surrounding the game, aside from what is actually in the title, yeah, it turned a lot of people off. Despite being generally lauded as another excellent game from critic reviews, the game is already starting to see discounts at some online retailers. Yeah, that's because critic reviews that are high do not equal high sales. It's so funny that the media still has not learned this, that this continues to happen. It's like IGN's, Polygon's, Kotaku's, they'll give games 9s and 10s like Dragon Age of Veilguard or Concord, but then when the title actually comes out and gamers are expected to buy it, nobody is. So PlayStation launched Yotei at a price point of £69.99, which digital buyers are pretty much locked into paying. However, shoppers can already save a tenner on the MSRP of Yotei if they head to Amazon. Instead of paying $69.99, the brand new PS5 exclusive game right now is down to $59.95. It's only a 14% discount, but it makes a huge difference among a busy period of video game releases. And I love a good video game sale, don't get me wrong, but when people are expected to buy something at release and pre-order things, why would I do that when I see a situation like this happening? If I'm an average consumer, if I'm somebody who can only buy one video game a month or every 2 months or hell, even every couple of months, because video games are very expensive and people have lives outside of their hobbies, why would I do this when I could just wait a few weeks? And in this case, only 2 weeks. It's such an insulting situation. And of course, this is true. If you head on over to Amazon, it is sitting at $49.96. And this is, partially Amazon's decision. It's partially Sony's decision. We're just talking about this not looking good for Sony, no matter how you cut the mustard, because even if it wasn't directly up to Sony and they didn't give the go-ahead, it means that Amazon was told to be so confident in this product and they expected it to fly off the shelves that they stocked up and nobody is purchasing the game. And I had just recently talked about how Ghost of Yotei was number 1, but it still sold 40% less than Tsushima. And an analyst explained and reassured why, and this happened with the physical sales in the UK, which does tie into it being already 14% off the MSRP on Amazon UK. So it seems that it's not selling in this region. And again, we have heard that apparently it has done phenomenal according to Circana, right? Number 4, we don't have actual sales figures, which of course I think it's important for transparency's sake for those figures to be put public, or a general range. Circana is trying to sell a product though, which I understand, though I still don't necessarily think that all of these sales were all that amazing for Sony, because they would have boasted. It has been weeks since it released. You'd think that they would have already said, oh, it's sold 3 million, 4 million, 5 million copies, which they're not, which doesn't really bode well, though. We're talking about a pile of problems with Yotei. People are upset with them replacing Jin Sakai. People are upset with the lead actress Erika Ishii's social media presence and the fact that she is an activist. You have developers on this project, ones that still work on it and ones that were fired, attacking conservatives and, of course, laughing at Charlie Kirk's assassination, making vile comments and vile statements. Then, on top of all of that, you have the Sucker Punch co-founder coming out and saying, well, that's sort of not our studio mentality, and that's kind of not okay, and he sort of thinks that people at the studio are better than this, even though it just sounds like he doesn't know the company culture because he's probably in the office once to twice a year. None of this looks good for Sony, and I am so disappointed with everything that surrounded Ghost of Yotei, because Tsushima was such a phenomenal experience, but this game, even if you love it, isn't particularly everything it could have been, regardless of if you agree or disagree. Even if you think that this is an amazing game and you don't think it's, woke, you don't think it's a problem the developer said this, it's still a game that you like that is surrounded in controversy, and you would never want that to be the case if it's a franchise you love, if it's a series you love. So no matter what, players lost out. Sony lost out. This is what happens when you constantly hire activists, and I think that it is obviously only going to get worse for them. If it's already going on sale, that means that people are not buying it in certain regions. It means that it's not doing as amazing as they expected, at least physical sales, and yeah, we are seeing a spike in digital because companies are pushing towards all digital, though they do still need physical copies to sell, because there are still physical copies that people usually want to buy for games that they're excited for, but that is not the case with Yotei, and it's just a clusterfuck all around, really. Checking the comments on this thread, people are saying things like, I believe it took around 2 months for Tsushima to get its first discount, so at least they are keeping up with the twos. Why is it so hard to believe it's selling well? The Horizon games sell well. Isn't it a similar target audience? True, but even both of the Horizon games, one didn't really face any controversy, but two did face a bit of controversy. It wasn't really until they had put out like the DLC, though even that, didn't have that sort of stain on its reputation. These days, a price reduction doesn't really mean anything. Any factor could play into it, because we've seen successful games go on sale a few months into their release. They don't show any sort of evidence of this. And yeah, like I mentioned, every single game is eventually going to go on sale. But 2 weeks after release, it's just not a good look, no matter how you try to spin it. Yep, this game might be a flop, but smash. Circana said they sold a bazillion copies. How could you doubt the Megacorp's story? I still think they will give it away on PS Plus to premium members to pad their sold units for the quarterly financial report. And yes, I do agree. I think that they're going to try to give it away on certain services so that they can say they, hit certain player goals, not necessarily sales goals. Been gaming since 96, so this is insane to see because it just doesn't happen barely ever. The OG game came out in 2020 when we had ZERP. The market was crazy, COVID boost and tech stock and markets, etc. And I don't think a lot of people truly expected it to sell the 15 million copies that Tsushima's got to be up to at this point, but you would still expect it to sell pretty well, especially for the marketing that they seemingly put into this. And We just had found out about a week ago that apparently there's no DLC currently planned and they're only going to create additional content for it if that's what the fans truly want. So even if every single person that bought it asked for it, they could still say there wasn't a good enough reception to the game, or there just weren't enough responses and there wasn't seemingly enough interest, and they can, cut their losses quickly. So I'll definitely be keeping my eye on the Ghost of Yotei situation. If you bought this game and you're playing it and you love it, I'm super happy for you. I hope that you thoroughly enjoy the experience, but it seems that a few people are being absolutely insulted right now given it is already on sale. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this important and informative, make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.